All right. Thanks, y'all, for sticking around. We got HSC Podcast 166. We got weekly movie review. Been a popular segment. Thanks for all the views and comments last week for Robert Redford movies. And again, rest in peace. Talked about it's a great actor there. Moving into another great actor, in my opinion. Maybe not as strong as acting skills as some other people, but he makes it up for it in action.
Yeah. Charisma.
And charisma, right? So we're going Bruce Willis this week. A lot of great Bruce Willis movies, and I'll admit I also just watched a couple other ones, and because I couldn't be on a Bruce Willis week and would not watch Die Hard, right?
Right. It's,
I mean, had to do it, and God, he's so good in Die Hard. I just love that movie. Obviously, great cast. Alan Rickman is amazing, but Bruce Willis really just captured that role. One of his best for sure. But we're not reviewing Die Hard this week. This week we have three great movies for you. We are doing older one, Blind Date. We got a classic, Armageddon, and then a wild one in 12 Monkeys. So kind of get the whole gambit of him in these three movies.
yeah.
I actually like the diversity here, and it's quite diverse. So just for fun, let's start with 12 Monkeys. This was Wes's movie, and he couldn't be here tonight because he can't work a camera. No, he was having technical difficulties, we'll call it that. And so I've only seen 12 Monkeys one time, and it was a long time ago.
Wow.
So to rewatch this was pretty crazy. And so I'll let you give your thoughts on it, and then I'll give my thoughts on
Yeah, it's funny because what it was 95, so what we were in juniors in high school. And I don't know, I probably saw this movie, I don't know how many times. But thinking about it, watching it now, you realize different things than you did when you watched it when you were younger. Like the whole so 12 Monkeys, it's basically the future. There was a biological warfare that killed 5 billion people, but didn't hurt any animals or anything like that. And so we were in the year, what was it like?
2035.
mm, I don't even think it was that long ago. I thought it was still, I don't know, it was,
Yeah, so it's later, but then they
yeah,
send him back
2035, you're
again.
right.
Yeah, they send him back again.
Um, they s- they send Bruce Willis back to the future or to the past to figure out what is the um, what is the biological weapon, so then they could figure out an antidote for now. They don't want it to stop. They don't want them to stop it because they know they can't because you can't change the past. And that was the whole thing. That was like the when I watched it, like when I was younger, I thought the lady on the plane was trying to stop it,
Right.
but it wasn't. She was making sure it happened, but now they could figure out what the antidote is.
Yeah, and that's what throws you about this movie because there's multiple incidents of that what you're talking about, right? Where you see it a different way than them actually not wanting to stop it, to try to make sure that it stays, but then they just want an antidote that but like Brad Pitt's character,
It's a red
which
herring. He's not.
yeah, so it totally like throws you off the track, right? And it's almost hard to keep up with at points. You really got to be focused on the movie. I did love the acting job Brad Pitt did, though. He played a great, like, crazy person, if that's politically correct.
Yeah. Brad Pitt was great in that movie. I've always loved Madeline Stowe. She's great. And then, of course, Bruce Willis. Those are really the three main people. I mean, you have Michael Morris, but he's not really, he has a few scenes, but or David Morse.
Right. Yeah, they do a good job in my opinion, also of when they do send him back and how, she's the doctor, so like playing her into the role. But then he like gets, when he's in the mental institute and then he like disappears out of the room, like that kind of stuff, and then they remember it later because they go from 90, then they got to go back to 96 because they put him in the wrong time.
World War One.
Oh, that was like pretty quick, right? And he gets shot. And then,
But there's a picture of him.
right. Also, like when she pulls the bullet out, you could tell it's like an old, super old bullet. I don't know how much she knows about bullets, but she looked at it like it was weird.
Yeah, well then Christopher Maloney plays a detective in it. It's pre-Stabler. And he even what he calls like, yeah, ballistics show that it was a World War II bullet,
Right.
World War One bullet. Yeah.
I like how he's playing that detective role. I mean,
Well,
it makes you think of Law and Order, though, right?
yeah. Well, and he kind of was like, I don't know about you because I think you have fallen for this guy.
Yeah. Oh, he's got a nose for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's overall, it's a good movie. I like the premise, and the you basically when you're trying to you spend the whole time trying to figure out this organization of the 12 monkeys. It's an interesting title and an interesting name for the group.
The Army of the 12
All
Monkeys.
right. I think Bruce Willis did a great job. So if you want to look at, we already talked about Brad Pitt, but I think Bruce Willis also did a great job of playing his part to the role that you got to think about. He's not crazy, but you got to think that this could like send him drive you crazy, right?
Well, yeah, that was his whole thing. He's like, "Oh, you must be right. I must be crazy. This can't be
Yeah,
real." And then she's the one going, "No, you're right. It is real." And he's like, "No, it's not."
right. It's like this Jedi mind stuff, reverse psychology, right? I mean, I recommend the movie though overall. I think it's good. It's worth the watch, and it's one of those movies where you're either gonna like it or you're not, right? And so it's not one of those movies that you're just kind of like, oh, it's okay. Some people are not gonna like it, but a good majority are going to, and a lot has to do with the acting.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a Terry Gilliam movie, so it's gonna be wacky and crazy.
Weird,
Yes, and weird.
and weird. But I mean, it's great. Filming like did a great job. With the sets and the scenery and the CGI's as best as they had it back then. I mean, it was well done as well made because they had some very cool like futuristic technology that they made look pretty real. So that was fun to watch. So definitely a recommend there. But always, with Bruce Willis, you're going to get something usually pretty good. All right, well let's jump into your movie, Blind Date, 1987. Like you're back in the 80s again.
Well, I picked this is Bruce Willis's first movie. Blake Edwards is the director, so he's known for like romantic, wacky comedy movies. And then this is, it's he Bruce Willis plays this character who's works at this company and he needs a date to go schmooze with a potential buyer of the company. And so his date falls through, so his brother sets him up with this friend of his wife's, and that's Kim Basinger on a blind date for this first thing, and um, wildness ensues throughout. You have a jealous ex-boyfriend who's crazy. Kim Basinger, when she starts drinking, goes a little nutso, and his life, and then Bruce Willis's life goes upside down. He loses his job, goes to jail, all this stuff, and then of course him and Kim Basinger fall in love and end up together at the end. But
So classic.
yes,
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting parts, when you talk about Kim Basinger, and I mean the signs were there, right? There was red flags. They told you not to let her drink, and he just does it anyway.
well,
Like,
that was the funny part is so it's Phil Hartman plays his brother, and his wife is like, oh, he's talking to Bruce Willis on the phone. He's like, his wife suddenly goes, make sure you don't have him drink. She goes a little crazy, and Phil Hartman goes, make sure it doesn't drink. She goes crazy.
yeah, he doesn't really set the tone for what's going to happen.
Right. It doesn't set it's setting the tone for like maybe Bruce Willis will get lucky if
Right.
she drinks, not go actually crazy.
Which she did, and that's part of the comedy part of it, right? Is the things she does, and I guess it's funny to a point where, but you get to a point in the movie where you're like, man, this poor guy, like what else can go bad? And then John Larroquette, coming in like is even more wild because he's so over the top when he's coming in and the things he's doing, and it just shows up out of nowhere at places, and you're like, how does he keep finding them?
Yeah, just stalking so well.
Yeah, he's an amazing stalker apparently. So that it was wild at times in that sense, but it's obviously written that way, and it's supposed to be, I guess, enhancing the later relationship, right? Like if you can get through that, you can get through anything.
Right.
And
Like the
that's kind of
whole
the idea.
like the whole scene where he's trying to get to her at nighttime and the dog is coming after her.
Right. And he's like in the
Like
pool.
the classic scene where he goes in a different door and then he has to hide because someone's coming in and
Right, right. Yeah, you can't not have that in the movie, right?
yeah.
I guess the end's pretty good though. He goes back to where it started, right? Like he gets her drunk because he knows what's going to happen, or not, I guess it's not even drunk, just any alcohol apparently.
Yeah.
She can't even have a sip.
Well, she ate all the chocolates, so
Well,
and then and then William Daniels is great at the end as the John Larroquette's dad.
yeah,
It's like, I want to get rid of you.
right, right. He's kind of funny. I mean, it is later in the movie, but he's kind of funny in the whole part of like, who would marry you? But it's got a lot of the classic humor. It's not slapstick, but it is in a sense. It's more of like a rom-com slapstick, if that makes sense.
Right. And it has like the cringiness to it. It's like a very
Right,
cringe. I mean, it's a 1987 movie, so you got to think now it's been done to death, but who knows how much it was done back
right,
then.
right. Yeah, when you're watching it for the first time, it's different. It's different for sure, especially if it's still the 80s or
Yeah.
early 90s. But yeah, nowadays it's like you've seen all of this in, 100 different movies. but nobody plays, and I've always thought this, like I mean, it's not just unlucky, but like the beat up, always in the wrong place at the wrong time. John McClane, Bruce Willis, right? Like he just
Right.
plays that part so well. So very, very good movie. I like it. I mean, I've seen it multiple times. It used to be on TV a lot, so watched it a lot growing up. But to watch it again, there's a lot of nostalgia to it, but there's also a lot of that a classic love story, with the comedy and the love and the 80s all mixed into one.
Well, and that's the thing. Before Die Hard, Bruce Willis was known for this and Moonlighting, which was
Right.
basically a romantic comedy, right?
Yeah, he had to break out of his shell and shoot some terrorists. It's the only way to do it.
Yeah.
It's funny that it's not also worked for another Japanese industrialist, Yakamoto.
Yeah.
When where they got
Well,
the idea for Die Hard.
well, that was the thing is in this movie where his office building, they show like him looking out the windows and they're building the the Fox Tower, which would
Right.
become Nakatomi Plaza.
Nakatomi Plaza. Oh, that's great. That's the 80s for you, though. They just did it better back then. It's definitely worth the watch, too. I mean, this is not a movie that you're going to watch a million times these days. Like, it was different when,
Right.
there weren't as many movies circulating. But it's definitely worth the watch. So if you want a good comedy, older 80s that you're looking for, and you haven't seen this because a lot of people haven't, I think it's definitely worth picking up. So great pick there. And again, showing some range, obviously from 12 Monkeys to Blind Date. That's a huge difference
Yeah.
for Bruce Willis there. All right, so we'll take him into excuse me, we'll take him into my movie, 1998. Bruce Willis playing Saving the World in Armageddon. I actually love this movie. I know there's people that have mixed feelings about this movie, but there's some movies that just get you every time, and this is just one of those for me. And if you haven't seen Armageddon, you're probably living under a rock, but it's obviously about a gigantic meteor coming at Earth. It's what they call the global killer, and it makes sense. I love the storyline because I'm a bit of a science nerd and these type of things where who knows if this would actually work, but if you were going to do it, like it starts to make the most sense. If you could, obviously there's a lot of things you need that we probably don't have, but as far as capabilities in space, but really that's what you need to do, right? So they gotta go get Bruce Willis, who's the best deep core driller. They gotta go land him on an asteroid. He's gotta drill down into a fault line and plant a nuclear bomb and split it in half. Like, who hasn't done that before?
Right.
What
Because it's easier to teach oil drillers to to like
the
be
astronauts
astronauts.
than it is for astronauts to be oil drillers.
Yeah.
Which that might be a thing. When you think about a lot of these like oil drilling and farming and just those type of thing that type of work, it's just not for everybody. Where I mean everybody thinks they can be an astronaut. Like how hard is it to get into a rocket and go float around space?
Yeah. Well, and considering, yeah, they didn't have to do anything except drill and stuff.
Right.
It's not like they were doing any astronaut stuff. They were just there.
And they do a great job of building the story, right? And there's some great parts of this movie, like at the beginning of the movie where they show like the asteroid or all of the meteor shower, right, and how it's blowing up stuff, and you start to get an idea of how this is going to affect the world, and so that enhances the story a little bit. But then they go into this great cast, and that's what really makes the movie for me is what they did, and they just didn't pull out random. Okay, here's 8 oil drillers. They really like set these roles very specifically with people that played the role as good as you could play them. And I'm talking about guys like Michael Clark Duncan playing Bear, um, Steve Buscemi playing Rockhound, Billy Bob Thornton playing Dan Truman. Like those guys, you couldn't have picked better people for some of these roles. That's what I think probably the best part of the movie for me is the people they put in the roles and how they acted.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, oh, man, like Steve Buscemi, like you put him in a movie like this or Con Air or something, he kind of steals the show. He has such great line. But yes, like you were saying, Owen Wilson and Michael Clark Duncan, like just the part where Owen Wilson's like, well, I'm Han Solo, and he's like, no, I am, and he's like, you're probably Chewbacca, and he's like, have you ever seen Star
Have
Wars?
you seen Star Wars? Or when Steve Buscemi's on the nuclear weapon, and he's like,
He's doing the
I was
Doctor
doing that thing
Strangelove.
where I wrote it in down,
Well, he's doing Slim Pickens from Doctor Strangelove, and
right,
but yeah, the only thing for Armageddon that like I had to fast forward is I can't like Liv Tyler.
right.
So
Well, that's the point, though. Watching the movies, like I said, when some movies get you, like that part, it's unstoppable. You don't have a heart if that part where Bruce Willis and Liv Tyler are having a conversation on the asteroid, he's not coming back.
well, not in mind that it was the Ben Affleck Liv Tyler parts that
Oh,
I
you mean the love story?
yeah, like the animal crackers and all that stuff. I'm like, no, that was like this is stupid. But like the whole story, I love it how, because we went through that in the 90s and we kind of do it like a reciprocal, but you have two movies that are the same, but are like one's an action and one's like a drama. So you had Armageddon's action movie, you had Deep Impact, which is more of a drama, right?
Yeah.
But yes, Armageddon's a popcorn flick and it's fun. And like you said, yes, the cast. Gotta love everyone in that. J.J. Abrams helped write it, which is
Hmm.
kind of funny to think of. But it's just, it's your typical Michael Bay movie.
It is. A little bit of Jerry Bruckheimer
Yeah.
sprinkled in there. Yeah, and it's a movie for everyone too, and it is a movie that you may not be like, hey, let's watch it over and over again, but if it comes on or people are like, hey, let's watch this, you're like, yeah, okay, that sounds good. Because who doesn't want to? I mean, because you go so deep in the even in the actors, right? I mean, even Keith David playing the general,
Yeah.
everybody just does such a great job of playing their role, and I don't mind the love story in it because it adds
Yeah.
to the
I just don't think, I'm not a fan of Liv Tyler. She's not a very good actress.
yeah.
But you got to remember Peter Stormare as the
Oh,
Russian.
oh, Lev, yeah, dude.
This is how you fix things.
I know the best is when they're trying to jump the Grand Canyon on the crater, and he's like, "I'm gonna step outside." But you got to admit, Ben Affleck does a really good job of playing like the way too cocky
Yeah.
hero in the end, but not really, and his backstory with Bruce Willis, kind of has to pull out the heartstrings a little bit too, because, his dad obviously worked for him or died or whatever, and Bruce Willis is supposed to take care of him. And so that adds, again, you're adding to the drama, but you're adding to the story when you're doing that of why this is just more important than Earth itself, because it becomes more important to the cast.
Yeah. The only funny thing is Ben Affleck doesn't learn a lesson. He basically was right, right? Like because
Yeah.
Bruce Willis was like telling him you gotta chill and you can't, and then he's like goes in there and is like, no, just give me a chance. Let me do what I think is right.
Right, which and this time it works out when it
Yes. And so
normally
now he's
doesn't.
gonna think throughout life that this is what this should be doing all the time.
Yeah, and that's the part where I think Ben Affleck did a really good job of portraying that role because he's the type of guy you would expect that from.
Yeah.
So overall, though, it's a really good movie. I enjoy it. It's well written. It's well acted. It's got really great cinematography in it, and they spent a bunch of money on it, so it should look aesthetically pleasing to the eye, right?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, another great Bruce Willis movie. So we had Armageddon, Blind Date, and 12 Monkeys. So that will get you through a gambit of Bruce Willis and different roles. I gotta say, out of those three, I do like his role in Armageddon just because by the end of the movie, you're really sold on um, Harry Stamper.
Yeah.
You're like, this might be the best human in the world. Any other, obviously I talked earlier about Die Hard. You can't go wrong with Die Hard. You've got, in my opinion, four great Die Hards. I
Yeah.
like one, two, three, and four. I think three and four don't get enough appreciation because I think they're just as good. I mean, I watched them just
Is
as
four with
much.
Justin Long and Timothy Olyphant, right?
Yeah, man, and that one to me gets doesn't get enough
Yeah.
recognition.
Yeah, the only one that is the Russia one was the only one that's not that great.
Yeah, because you're coming into number five at that point, and
Yeah.
it's like everything gets old after a while.
For me, I think one of the most underrated movies, and I just love it to death, is Lucky Number 11.
Yeah, a lot of good actors in that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think about his role in that? Kind of sticks out for you.
Well, because he plays mostly well, he's basically, you think he's just a stone cold killer and everything. And then it's like, it's almost like it's a revenge story. It's like The Sting, but in a revenge story with hitmen.
Right. That's a good analogy. It's a good movie, though. I mean, top to bottom, not just Bruce Willis. I think there's a lot of good in that movie. Also,
Um,
I watched Unbreakable, which is one I really like with him.
I mean, when I was living at the beach with Dustin, I think Unbreakable was on loop for like a month straight. Unbreakable is great, and then they ruined it with Glass.
Right. But
Uh,
yeah, it doesn't take away from Unbreakable though for
no.
me. But you're right. It's the same thing. Like you stay in a series and you keep doing things to it. You eventually you can ruin it. But Samuel L. Jackson as well, though, in
Yeah.
Unbreakable, like they both just play such great roles. Of course, it's M. Night as well, so it's going to be usually pretty good.
Early M. Night, so yeah.
Yeah, yeah. What was that? 2000?
Well, because that one was right after Sixth Sense, I think.
Yeah. Well, and well, I mean, if we're talking about it, yeah, 1999, Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
That was at one point that was huge.
Oh yeah.
It was good though. Like you gotta love his role in there because without him like convincing you what was happening, that was a hard one to see coming because he did such a good job. Obviously, after you see it for the first time and then the ending's ruined. And if you haven't seen Sixth Sense by now, you're living under a rock. So, the playing the role of the dead, he's dead already, but he's in everybody's life still. He just really convinces you that he's still there.
Right. Well, that the only thing that's weird about Sixth Sense is okay. So Haley Joel Osment sees dead people, but he's usually freaked out by them.
Right.
But like with Bruce Willis, he just talks to him. You know what I mean?
Well, because I guess you think about it, like the only way you could really know if they're dead or not is if they have like some, because a lot of them are like either hanging or have like big gashes in their head,
Right.
like when they get hit by a car, where he doesn't have any of that like visible.
Yeah.
Because how do you know who's dead and who's not if you're the kid, right?
Well, but he
You're gonna
did
ask
know.
people like, "Hey, do you see him?" You see, I mean, all he knows,
That's the issue I have though, is he did know that he was though.
right, right. Because then I guess it comes down to like it gets cold and other things that go along with paranormal stuff that
Yeah.
he experiences. But just think about that though, like how do you figure that out for the first time, right?
Gosh.
Because if everybody, even dead people around, like you don't know, you're not like asking people like, "Hey, you think that person's alive?" They'd have him in a little hospital.
Yeah.
Great movie though. Also, what was the other one I want to mention? I was gonna watch it, but I didn't get a chance. Just too many Bruce Willis movies in one week.
I'm surprised you haven't mentioned a Shane Black classic, The Last Boy Scout.
Yes, I mean that's it's definitely one of my favorites as well. I mean, David Wayans is really good in that one too. They were surprisingly did well together.
It was Tony Scott directed, Shane Black wrote it. Yeah. I think that one like didn't do as well, but I think for us, it's like that's a great movie.
Well, yeah, it's right up our alley in a lot of different ways. You got everything. You got sports, you got guns.
Yep. Billy
Oh,
Blanks.
this is one of I really love this movie, and I don't think a lot of people do. It lost a ton of money, at least in the box office. But Heart's War,
Oh yeah.
there's a lot of good acting in it. I mean, Terrence Howard and Cole Hauser, Colin Farrell. I don't know if it's his best role, but he plays it right. Like he did what he needed to do. But this is another one where it's just like Bruce Willis playing that role of obviously I think he's a major high up in the army, but they're in a camp or a POW camp, but it kind of plays out where it still has that rank and everything in there, and he actually ranks with the Germans too. So he's always going back and forth with the German leadership and negotiating terms of how they want to be held prisoner and but just the end is so good because he always comes back, right? It's like not leaving the asteroid.
Right.
He comes back and he's like, you know what? I did my duty. One last bomb to go off and blow up your place where you create ammunition.
Yeah. Well, and then a year later, he was in another movie with Cole Hauser, and that was Tears of the Sun, which is like pretty good. That one's like a full blown like special ops and
Yeah.
jungle.
Yeah, you're talking about Navy SEAL stuff there, which is I'm always good for that. I mean, there's just so many movies. Obviously, we go on about them all night, but those were some of the ones I wanted to highlight. But it's always good. I mean, Bruce Willis, with his medical condition, it's just one of those where you're like, hey, how much longer? Obviously, he probably won't do any more movies. I don't know if he's scheduled for anything, but it's good to go back and look at a career like that and be like, man, that's a lot of good movies.
Yeah.
Because there's so many we didn't even mention, that he's not always the number one role, but when he's in it, it just makes the movie better. I mean, you even look like a silly movie like The Whole Nine Yards,
Yeah.
and playing Jimmy the Tulip, like it's so good. All right, well, we'll wrap up movie review there. Bruce Willis. And so, again, any comments about actors that you would like to see or movies you'd like to see, top fives from previous that you would like to hear us do? Again, please leave in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and like, but comments are definitely appreciated when it comes to the movie reviews. And so, thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.